I'm all done. All right. Hey guys, John here. Does your Xbox ever sound like it's about to take flight? Yeah, it's usually the power supply or the DVD drive. In our case, it's the power supply. I'm going to show you guys how to fix that and get rid of that jet engine sound from behind your TV console. Okay, give me 1 second and I'll have it all set up for you. How to take it apart properly and put it back together. Now, normally right here, on the feet there are normally little pieces of rubber or felt or something. You have to remove those. Now mine are missing altogether because I just never put mine back on. I didn't see the need. So the first thing you're gonna need is a number 8, a T8, screwdriver, and you're gonna remove these 4 screws from the bottom of the power brick. Okay, so you pull it apart, it comes apart fairly easily. I mean, there's nothing really clipping it together other than those 4 screws. But remember, there's a wire connecting the motherboard portion to the other side. So that the top part will usually just fall out like this. And then pull it apart carefully, but careful for that wire. If you pull too hard, you will break it. You can disconnect it from the other board though, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. I'm just gonna set this in here for a second and move on to removing the screws where the fan is actually housed on the other side. Now, you can remove the small screws to pull the fan directly off, but I usually pull the larger screws out first for the reason that it's a little difficult to do when it's in your hand, and it's easier to do while it's still in the body of the power brick. So you pull these 2 larger screws out. They're the 2 largest screws that you can see underneath that are on this piece of plastic on this side of the power brick. Pull those out and set them aside. I usually put all my stuff, all my screws and whatnot, in a little cup so that way none of them fall out, or a magnet or anything that you happen to have that's going to keep them from getting lost or falling to the ground. I'm going to pull out these the smaller screws with a smaller screwdriver. They should come out fairly easily. They're torqued in a little bit, but it's just plastic, and there's no like cement or anything holding them in place. Good, now that we got those off, the piece of plastic housing the fan should come off fairly easily. It's, again, not glued in, not clipped in, it's just really setting there. And the fan, those larger screws, we're holding the fan to this top piece of plastic, this little shroud, and you got to be careful. This little cable, again, it comes through this little shroud. I'm going to show you how to disconnect that cable. We probably should have done that to begin with. It doesn't matter though. It's not a big deal. So we'll go ahead and just literally just unclip it from the motherboard, or from the main board, from the power brick, and it comes right off. It fits right through that little hole right there. Okay, now we just have the fan housing. Now, although you can blow it out and try to clean it this way, it won't get it fully, entirely clean. We have to actually take it apart. So you can actually just do this really quick. If you just notice a bit of dust or dirt, just kind of wipe it off, and you can put it back together and go from here. But I like to go a little bit further and make sure that it's silent for a really long time. So I'll grab a small screwdriver, and you got to make sure the bit is really, really sharp on it, otherwise it won't fit in these little tiny screws that are in this fan the fan shroud. Okay, now the top piece of plastic should just come off just like this. You can notice a bunch of dirt and whatnot underneath, especially if you've had it for a while. It should be pretty dirty. So just grab a very clean cloth, something that's cotton that doesn't leave any kind of lint. I'm using the kind of cloth you use for your computer screen, or for to clean a piece of glass or whatnot. Just something that's not going to leave any residue or film or any kind of lint behind, because you want to make sure that none of that stuff goes back into the fan when you put it back together. So I'm going to clean this all out, any debris and move on to the next part where I pull the fan apart. Pulling this portion of the fan out, you have to be really, really careful with. You just pull it straight up. It's magnetic and it's brushless, so it's not physically connected with any kind of screws or whatnot. You just have to pull it straight out, and it should come out. It'll feel a little bit tight at first, but it'll pop off with no problems and will not damage anything from the fan. And you're gonna notice all the dirt and dust underneath it. You're going to want to take that same cloth and go through and clean every bit of it as well, as thoroughly as you possibly can. Don't use anything that's wet or whatnot, because there are magnets inside, and I'm not certain if they're coated, and they may rust, and it'll cause even further damage later on or right off the bat. So make sure it's a dry cloth and just get in there and clean up every little detail of the fan if you can. I just clean off the areas, the surfaces that happen to touch other pieces of plastic within the fan housing. Now, before I put it back together, you can go ahead and put it back together at this point, but I like to use a little bit of grease. I use lithium grease only because it's not conductive for electricity, but it will lubricate it very well. It's very, very light, so you don't need a whole lot. If you put too much and it gets on the electronics, it won't damage them, but it could gum up the works, and you really don't want to do that. So I just add a little bit along the outsides, and it goes a really, really long way. So just put it on there and then kind of brush it through with your finger. That should be sufficient, honestly. You really won't need much more than that. And then I like to take a little bit of it and put it on the top part of the housing, the part that goes on the inside of the fan as well, and that way any plastic that happens to rub across the top portion and the bottom portion will hit this grease first, and it'll allow it to slip, as opposed to making that grinding sound we were hearing earlier. And that's what it actually is that plastic on plastic, and we don't really want that any longer. So that's why we're doing this to begin with. So make sure you clean off any excess grease that's on the inside of the ring right there, because you don't want it to catch any dirt. On the stuff on the inside of the housing, it'll tend to keep most of the dirt out of it because the way it's blowing, but at the same time, anything that's on the outside is going to accumulate a little more dirt than you want it to. So now we just go ahead and do it in reverse, and we put everything back together, and we should be good to go. Make sure you don't miss any of the screws. If you have anything that's left over, you did it wrong. Make sure you put in every single screw, and they all have to be tight. If they're not tight, and I don't mean crank them down because you'll break the plastic, but at least nice and snug. If they're not snug in there, it will rattle loose, and you're going to get that grinding sound all over again, but from a different part. You're going to get it from the loose rattle of the plastic. All of it has to be nice and snug. So now we're putting the board back in, and make sure it clips in nice and smooth. There's a little piece on the backside right over here where the board clips in, and then the power cord is going to slide into this little slot right here. And then we're going to make sure that the power cord portion on the other side slips into this little slot on this side as well. We don't want it to be loose or popped up any which way. It's got to be nice and snug. It should fit right in. You shouldn't have to force it. Maybe just a little bit of persuasion on the top part, but not on the back. The backside should slide right in there. We put the screws back in, and if you happen to have saved the feet on yours, you can glue those back on, or you can stick them back on, or however you want to do it, or grab another piece of something and put them back in there. But again, I don't have mine. I'm just putting the screws back in, and I'm going to go plug it in, and I'll be good to go. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, please go ahead and smash that like button as hard as you can with your Xbox controller. And if you're at all new to our channel, please go ahead and click that subscribe button down below, dudes. It helps us out a great deal, and it lets you guys know when we upload our videos. Until next time, guys, see ya!